All right, gang. It's 6:01. We have about 65 participants. Maybe we'll just kind of quickly get started. I'll do a quick little introduction. So, real fast, just want to start off and say thank you so much for being here. This is AYSO 1463. We are doing our parent and guardian orientation. We just want to walk all of you through the spring season, some of our expectations and some things to kind of look forward to with the spring 2023 season. So thank you again for joining us. I'm going to try and go through a presentation. It won't just be me. I want to make sure that we spread the wealth. A lot of our executive board members are online too, and they're going to be helping me out as well. So I will introduce them along the way, but we'll start off with myself here. So real quick introduction myself. Again, my name is Jaime Bencia. I've been with AYSO since 2012. I've been a volunteer since about 2017 and involved with the board since 2018. I've been a regional commissioner since about the 2019 season, and it's been a blast. Lots of work, lots of hard work with incredible board members and incredible people, but it's all been worth it. The kids have been great, the seasons have been great, soccer's been great. It's been a fun time. So I'm definitely glad to be here and glad to be here talking to you guys about AYSO soccer. So let me keep going. Just a couple of housekeeping items. So just a heads up to all of you, this session is being recorded, and I'm sure you guys probably heard this when you jumped on at the very beginning. And what we're going to do is, once this is all done, we are going to take this recording, and more than likely on Saturday, we're going to post it on our website, and then we're going to share it out with everybody. So that way, if anybody couldn't make it to the meeting, they can watch it then. Or if there was something that you guys wanted to go back and check up on, you absolutely can. So we're going to work on that for Saturday. Quick note, if you guys happen to have any questions throughout the entire presentation, this is going to be a little bit of a closed presentation, meaning we're not going to be fielding, questions on the fly, like as far as opening up the mics. There's a lot of content here. So if you guys happen to have any questions along the way, go ahead and put it within our chat, and our executive board members will be sure to answer whatever questions you got. So feel free to put them in there and we will answer them in the chat for you. And at the very end, if we happen to have any extra time, then we'll definitely open up the mic a little bit and start talking. So quick notes, just want to go through these, the AYSO vision. So obviously these are incredibly important to AYSO. The AYSO vision is to provide world-class youth soccer programs to enrich children's lives. And the mission is to develop and deliver quality youth soccer programs which promote a fun family environment based on AYSO's 6 core philosophies. And obviously these are incredibly important to AYSO. We bring these up at every single meeting, no matter what. If you guys get involved with coach instructor classes or referee courses or something like this, it's always something that AYSO makes sure that you guys understand. Like, it's really about enriching the children's lives with the game of soccer, and we take that very, very seriously here at AYSO Murrieta. So moving on, as far as the actual philosophies, I'll quickly go through them. So everyone plays, and what that means with AYSO 1463 is that with AYSO National, each player is required to play 50% of the game. So in some soccer organizations, it might be a situation where they may not play at all, right? With AYSO, your player must play at least 50% of the game. With AYSO, we bumped that up a little bit more. We have 75%. It's 3/4 of each game. So parents, keep that in mind. If for whatever reason your child is not playing 75% of the game, let us know. Keep us posted. We're going to obviously inform the coaches and remind them as well, but let us know. Balanced teams, unfortunately, didn't work out this season. We typically every single season have an in-person evaluation, and it works great. We invite the kids out there. We make sure we have evaluators out there kind of documenting their skills and how they're doing. Unfortunately, due to all the rain we had recently, and you guys saw that, we were unable to have those evaluations, those events, which is unfortunate. But we've done our best behind the scenes to kind of get a lot of the information that you as parents provided us. And I think we've done a pretty good job. We will be doing a pretty good job of balancing out a lot of these teams. We're going to do the best we can. So there you go there. Open registration. So registration is open to all AYSO regions and all people from across the country. So say, for example, and what that means, even though we're AYSO Murrieta, anybody can register at AYSO Murrieta. If you wanted to, you can go and register at AYSO New York, and you would be just fine. So AYSO is open to everybody, right? Positive coaching, and we'll have Josh Schwartz, our coach admin, kind of talk about this a little bit more, but it's pretty self-explanatory. It's all about making sure the coaches are out there are always instructing the kids in a very, very positive manner with constructive criticism and reinforcing really positive traits out there. So that's insanely important to us. Good sportsmanship from the players, the coaches, the referees, and parents. This is a really, really big initiative and means a lot to us. All of us, everybody, referees, coaches, parents, everybody needs to make sure we're all in it together. We're all looking out for one another. We're all doing some good sportsmanship amongst ourselves, right? And player development, that's a big one. All of these are big. That's player development's a big one as well, as far as like, look, the goal to AYSO, everybody wants to win. It's fun to win, right? But the reality is our coaches here are taught, and Josh Schwartz, who you'll meet a little bit, does a really good job of kind of really hammering this home. It's really not about winning. It's more about making sure that these kids, number one, develop as soccer players, and most importantly, number two, they have such a good time that they come back the next year regardless of how well their team played, right? So that's incredibly important as far as our region is concerned. Real fast, as far as the whole program in general, so 1463 is part of a greater whole. So we are part of what's called Area 1R, and Area 1R includes regions like Corona and Riverside, Moreno Valley, Jurupa, Paris, Menifee, French Valley. If any of you parents have any kids that are in 14U and 16U, you will be visiting some of these regions. You will be traveling to some of these regions, and these regions will be traveling to Murrieta, right? So that's a heads up to you guys, but just this is mostly a slide to kind of let you guys know, even though we are one region, we are absolutely part of a greater whole. And then Area 1R is part of Section 1, which basically takes up a good majority of Southern California, which includes 70 other regions, right? Or actually a total of about 69 if you include us. So it's a lot of regions. It's a big AYSO family out there. The kids zone, super important. I'll really briefly go through these bullet points. So kids obviously are number one. Fun, not winning is everything. And again, winning, it's great, it's important, but really fun and player development is absolutely everything as far as AYSO 1463 is concerned. Fans only cheer and only the coaches should coach. So parents, please keep that in mind. Coaches out there should be the ones kind of providing direction. Fans, parents and spectators and guardians, absolutely cheer as much as you want and be loud. We love that, but it's a matter of, we want to make sure that only the coaches are the ones out there giving any direction. Some of these other ones, so no yelling and anger, it's fairly obvious. Respect the volunteer referees, and we'll go into that a little bit more with Mauro Guevara, who is a referee admin. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Obviously, no swearing, no alcohol, tobacco, nothing on the field like that, no weapons, trash, no leaving trash behind. That's really, really important. We work with Warm Springs Middle School, and our relationship with them is insanely important to make sure we maintain these fields, and we keep having these fields year after year. So we got to make sure we're taking care of the fields. Set proper example for good sportsmanship. We talked about that. And celebrate the player. Incredibly important. Win or lose, make sure you're celebrating your sons, your daughters, your players out there, making sure that they feel like they had a great time and are learning and growing in the game of soccer. So real quick, I'm going to go through a few quick programs, EPIC and schoolyard programs, and I'm going to go ahead and start with the EPIC program. And by the way, for EPIC parents out there, this was formerly called VIP. So starting this season, they have rebranded. They have rebranded to what's called the EPIC program, and it stands for Everyone Plays in Our Community. And for anybody else who is unaware of what the EPIC program is, it's a fantastic program from AYSO National. Our coordinator, her name is Shauna Glicker. She does a really, really good job along with Christy Nielsen as far as taking the game of soccer, providing it to individuals who might have mental disabilities, and it's specifically made for children or even adults, any age. It doesn't matter. You could be 4 to 60 to 70, 80, 90, it doesn't really matter. We do a good job of just making sure we support those players. We are showing them and providing them a high quality soccer experience. And every single season, to be frank with you guys, the kids and the parents come back season after season. They have a blast, they have fun, we take pictures, we play games. If anyone out there, if you guys happen to know of any children or any adults even that have any special needs, but they want to get out there and play a sport, play a game, this is absolutely the program for you. Feel free to contact Shauna Glicker. These slides, by the way, as a heads up to you, this entire presentation will also be available on Saturday once we post it with the video, right? So at any point you can, contact Shauna Glicker. Her contact info, and everybody here, everybody's contact info is also within the context within our website. So feel free to contact Shauna if you know anyone. It's a fantastic program, and feel free to kind of take part. It's amazing. Just as a heads up for any of the Epic program parents, sessions will occur on Fridays. It's going to start on March 10th. The very last one is going to be on May 12th. It's a total of 8 session totals. And if there's any confusion there, I want to make sure that you guys are aware there are no practices, right? So that it's only a total of 8 sessions every single Friday. The session time is going to be from 4:30 p.m. to 5:15, 45-minute sessions. And like I mentioned a second ago, no practices, but make sure you bring a size 5 soccer ball. That would be highly appreciated. So that is the Epic program. Again, if you guys have any questions at all, absolutely feel free to contact Shauna Glicker, our Epic coordinator. She'll be more than happy to provide you any and all information. Next up, we have Schoolyard, and Schoolyard is basically a program that focuses on session play, like it says on the slides, right? This is the first time that these young kids are provided some engaging activities. It's not quite a game of soccer quite yet. We're doing interactive games with the kids during these sessions to kind of teach them passing, shooting, dribbling, all the fundamentals that they need to understand as far as the game of soccer, right? But the thing is, what's kind of fun about this is that we make it into little games, because as you know, children of this age, they're very, very young, 3 to 4 years old. After about 5 or 10 minutes, if you try to just play the game of soccer, they'll just lose interest. So we got to make sure we're constantly keeping them, involved, right? And that's what we end up doing. What we do for you guys, though, as far as the parents go, the last 10 to 15 minutes or so, we do separate them, and we will do a quick little 5v5 game of soccer. So that way, not only do they get the interactive games, but they also get a game of soccer at the same time, which is a lot of fun, and the kids love it. Our Schoolyard coordinator, her name is Wendy Boylan. She has been doing this for a couple seasons now. If you guys have any questions, if you're part of the Schoolyard program, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact Wendy. Her information's here. It's also on our website. Quick bullet points as far as sessions go. So Schoolyard will happen on Saturdays, Saturday mornings, very early. It starts March 11th. The last session is May 13th. There's a total of 8 sessions, and very similar to the Epic program, there are no practices. It is only the 8 sessions, so eight Saturdays total, right? There are 45-minute sessions, and I mentioned a second ago, no practices. For this group, go ahead and bring a size 3 soccer ball, and we'll go into equipment and all that stuff a little bit later in the presentation. So that is Schoolyard in a nutshell. UKI International, for anybody who has done Schoolyard, you will know who these guys are, or who this entity is. They are a fantastic group of coaches. We have partnered with them again for the Schoolyard program. We are going to have 2 coaches that are going to do every one of these sessions with the Schoolyard kids. They love being out there. They have incredible games. They provide an exceptional soccer experience, and we're really happy to have them back. So UK International will be responsible for the Schoolyard program once again this season. And then next up, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Josh Schwartz. Josh is our coach admin or administrator. He is also our coach instructor. He has been here a long time. I'm sure he's going to do a nice introduction, but he will lead you guys as far as information in regards to our various divisions at AYSO 1463. So Josh, please take it away.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for taking your time this evening with us. I appreciate that. Jaime, what a great start. It's going to be hard for me to follow that up, to be sure. I appreciate all of your time. Let's real quick. We're going to go over some of the key points of each H division that we have in our region. So next slide. So starting with the 6U, so these are the youngers just above the Schoolyard. This is where we really start implementing the games, and they are going to have practice sessions as well. So, we're really starting to focus on the game. Key points on this is what you should expect as parents. 45-minute practices only once per week. Okay, so once per week, 45-minute practices, and your games are going to be 5v5 with no goalkeepers. So we're really trying to focus on encouraging players to explore and experiment, participate with the ball. And of course, on Saturday games, they just get to go out, and you're going to see a lot of bumblebee soccer, but it's really great because they have fun with it. The kids really enjoy it. And there you go, 30-minute games. So 2 15-minute halves, you'll have a quick break in between. In these games, these 6U divisions, coaches will be the ones supervising refereeing. There's no official referees for 6U matches. And your 6U division coordinator's name is Alex Goodwin, is amazing volunteer. Really, any issues you have or any questions, you should be able to get answered through your coach. If for some reason you're not getting the information or results you need from your coach, then Alex Goodwin, your coordinator, would be the next step in line. As always, you can reach out to any of us board members, and we will be more than happy to help you. But your coach and then your 6U coordinator should be your first 2 points of contact. Games occur on Saturdays. Practices, like I said, once a week. We'll have 8 games total. That the first game will be March 11th. Final match will be May 13th, and all 6U uses a size 3 soccer ball. Right. So that's 6U in a nutshell. The ages for 6U, yes, are generally 4 and 5-year-olds. Occasionally there's some caveat there. Generally for 6U, it's 4 and 5-year-olds. But moving right along to 8U. So 8U, we're gonna kind of take that next step. The kids are getting a little bit older. We're gonna start to focus on quality training, establishing good habits, and really start building a strong foundation for their soccer development. At the same time, we do realize these are generally 6 and 7-year-olds. They're still kids. We're focused on that age appropriate application, really making it fun, but getting them to fall in love with the game is kind of the goal for the 6U, 8U divisions. 8U, you're now going to move up to 1 hour practices twice a week. Okay, 1 hour twice a week, so 2 hours a week for practices. And your games are going to be a little bit longer, 40 minutes. So you have 2 20-minute halves. 6v6 are your matches, still no goalkeeper and no offside. So hopefully this is where they start scoring more goals. At this age, the more goals they score, the happier they are. And you will have certified referees here in your 8U matches. Okay. Your 8U coordinator, just like the 6U, is Mike Kellerheller, another amazing volunteer. So if you do have any questions or need information you're not getting from your coach, Mike would be your next step in the process of contacting people. Very similar to 6U. So games are on Saturday, start March 11th and May 13th. Also a size 3 soccer ball. Total of 8 games and a possibility of a 9th week, which we'll get into later on in the slides. Moving right along to 10U. So 10U is a big step from 8U to 10U. 1 hour practice is still twice a week, so that's the same. Your games are a little bit longer. They're now 50 minutes, 2 25-minute halves. This is the golden age for learning and the perfect age to really increase focus and specific techniques and skills. So 10U is when you really start seeing these players. You start seeing the soccer skill, the development. There we go. Thanks, Simon. And you're really going to start seeing some of these all-stars kind of just shine on the pitch. So it's time for adventure. This is having fun. We're now doing 7v7 matches, and this is the first age where goalkeepers are introduced. Okay, so it's really exciting. A lot of big changes when you're going into 10U. Also, the offside rule is now in effect. And the build outline is something that applies in 10U and 10U only, which we'll go into a little bit more detail on the next slide. And our 10U games and up, you'll have a full referee crew. You'll have 1 referee and 2 assistant referees. All the things are the same. Saturdays start on March 11th, end on May 13th. And when you're in 10U and 12U, you're gonna bump up to a size 4 soccer ball. So it's one size bigger ball than any division below them. 8 games total with a possibility of a 9th week. All right, so let's talk about that build outline just a little bit. This is a lot of words, a lot of information, a little bit too much for me to really get into detail on this parent meeting, but here's what you want to focus on is there's links below. Really great, simple, easy to understand YouTube video that explains the build outline, which are these 2 blue lines that only exist in 10U. And then another great link that explains offsides. I think both of these videos are 5 or 6 minutes each. I don't know. They're not long. They're very easy to understand. Parents, I highly encourage you all to watch these videos, especially if you're in the 10U age division, because it will help you understand why referees are or aren't calling offside, or maybe something that you think is offside really isn't. Because you know maybe you just don't understand or haven't watched the video or something like that. So watching these videos would really alleviate a lot of that confusion and potential little bits of anger if you think the referee got something wrong. Chances are the referee didn't get it wrong. Just FYI. So take these links, educate yourself. That would be very helpful for all parties involved. Um, Moving right along. So 12U, still 1 hour practices twice a week. 1 hour games now, and now you're moving up to 9v9. The big ticket items for 12U is you really should teach specific positions and encourage them. Now, that doesn't mean that players are going to play the same position the whole season. That's actually the opposite. Players should be moved around. Even if your player is primarily a forward or an attacker, the coach should put them in midfield and defense and all throughout the season. So, but this is where you really start teaching specific positions. What do forwards do? What is the job of a defender or a center midfielder? That kind of stuff in 12U. As far as goalkeepers, limitations, they cannot play more than 3/4. If they do play goalkeeper 3/4 during a match, they have to play a fourth quarter and it has to be on the field. So keep that in mind, parents. That's probably not going to be a situation you're going to run into too much, simply because of the substitution and playing rules, playing percentage rules that we have in place. The ability to play one player the entire game is not going to be very common. So keep that in mind. And 12U, no headers allowed. If a header does occur, it will be a drop ball to the opposing team, or possibly an indirect free kick, depending on the referee's decision. Games start on Saturday, start March 11th and May 13th. Size 4 ball. All of your games for 12U will be at Marietta on our home field. 8 games total with the possibility of a ninth. Trucking right along to 14U, which is co-ed for spring. Now you're jumping up to 1.5 hour practices. So 90-minute practices twice a week. And your games are getting to be close to that full-length match. 70 minutes, 2 35-minute halves, and now you're moving up to a full roster 11v11 on the pitch. Positions should be taught and enforced. So now if you're a defender, hey, you can be a defender. If you're a forward, you can be a forward. That kind of stuff starting at 14U and up. Goalkeepers, there's no limitations. You are allowed to play all 4 quarters now. And this is the age where headers are allowed. With the exception, sometimes we have some 12U aged players that are very highly skilled and they want to play up to challenge themselves. So if you have a 12U aged player playing in a higher division, headers are not allowed in that situation. It is rare, but it does happen. So keep that in mind. Substitutions during quarter break, halftime, and injuries. So 14U, this is where you might start seeing some weekday games. I think the majority of them we're going to try and keep them on weekends, but don't be surprised. Some of them will be on weekdays. You're going to jump up now to a full size 5 soccer ball. And you'll have games obviously in Marietta at home and surrounding regions, depending on what the schedule dictates. 8 to 9 games total, and there'll be a tournament in June for the first place team, pending volunteer points. Okay, 16U division, very similar to the 14U division. Same practice times, a little bit longer games, 80 minutes. Same thing with positions, no goalkeeper restrictions. And this is what we call free subs, okay? Free subs are allowed in 16U, 19U, so it's no longer quarters. You play halves, and coaches at stoppage and play with the permission of the referee can substitute in and out as many players as they see fit. Same thing, size 5 soccer ball, and they'll play versus area 1R teams, and there will be a 16U tournament in June for the first place team. Awesome. So UKI, so Jaime touched on the UKI program a little bit earlier. This is great. what we're going to do is we have UKI seminars that will be scheduled for 2 days during the week, and they can come out and help your coaches, and they'll run clinics with your coaches. They basically would work with your coach and run the practice session depending on what the coach wanted to work on. So coaches will sign up for that when and if they want to do it. And the goal for the UKI is to help train our AYSO 1463 coaches to become even better coaches. Obviously, we have great coaches. We have a lot of returning coaches with a lot of experience. We have a lot of new coaches that are getting their feet wet. We train them to the best of our ability and give them as many tools as we can to succeed. This is one of those tools, utilizing, these coaches that have soccer has been their life, from the time they were walking, and bringing them in and getting a little bit different viewpoint, a little bit different input on how they can become better coaches and run better practice sessions, is kind of the goal there. So head coaches, if any of you are on this call, take advantage, sign up your team. Excuse me, I had a runny nose for a couple of days, so pardon me. Let me mute myself and sorry about that. I know you didn't want to hear that. Okay, so moving right along. It's a game changer team. So I'm sure if any of you've been around, soccer or sports teams before, there's all kinds of team apps and stuff that are available. Communication apps as far as sending the schedule to your team. We use the Game Changer app here, and we highly encourage your coaches to use the Game Changer app. It's basically it's still run by Dix, right, Jaime?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Okay, and so it has all the features that we need, that you need to run a soccer team, as far as scheduling, communicating. You can do roster settings, inviting players, everything like that. The communication is great. It's really a great app. I've used it for the past several seasons, and honestly, I have no reason to switch to any other apps. So that's me. So coaches, if you are using this, make sure you let us know that we're using this app, so it helps us keep track of it, everything like that. All right, and then that's me. Who's that handsome fellow? Oh, that's me. So there's my contact information. If you have, if you're looking for any information, our website has more information than you could possibly handle. Your question probably is answered on there somewhere. But if you do need to contact me, there's my info. I will be happy to get back to you and answer your question, or direct you to the right person that can answer your questions. So I think that might be it for me. Thank you so much. I hope I did well like Jaime did.
You did awesome, Josh. Thank you so much, and I appreciate you muting while blowing your nose. That was nice of you. There's an echo a second ago. All right, everybody. So real quick, we're going to move on to competitive programs. We have a gentleman by the name of Carlos Torres. Many of you guys know this fine gentleman. He does an insane amount, just like Josh. He does an insane amount for us at AYSO 1463, and he is going to run you over. He's going to run you by these competitive programs. So Carlos, please take it away.
Hey guys, how you doing? Again, like Jaime said, my name is Carlos Torres. I'm sure I've talked to a lot of you guys. You know probably my voice. I'm sure I reached out to you guys, hoping that you would help us volunteer and stuff, or help volunteer in our programs. But anyways, let's talk about our competitive programs. Go ahead, Jaime. So we have two competitive programs in our region, and the first one is the Spring Select program. The Spring Select, just like the name, is only in the springtime. This program is a much higher level of soccer commitment, not only from the players, but also from the parents. Think of it like a semi-club team going against other regions of semi-club teams, kind of all-star team versus all-star team. The way the select team is picked is they have to come from the fall season players. So in order to participate in the select program, your child has to have played in the fall season. A coach applies to be a select coach, and then that select coach would pick players from the previous season division, and then form an all-star team. It's super fun. It's very competitive. It is only offered from the 10U division up. So it goes from 10U, 12U, 14U, and 16U. These are travel teams, so you will play half your games at home and half the games will be away, and you do play other regions. It's a lot of fun. It's a ton of fun. And again, it's for those players and those parents who are looking for a much higher level of soccer than just a normal core program. and it's tremendous fun. If interested in it, there's my email address. Feel free to reach out to me. Again, the spring season's already selected. That's already done. We start that process in November for the spring season. So this spring is done, but keep that in mind. Write it down for next season. We'll advertise anyways. We'll let you know ahead of time, but just write it down that right around November is when we start thinking about the spring select teams. But again, if your child is really, really committed to soccer and wants to play and wants to do nothing but play soccer, this program will be for them. Go ahead, Hyman. Extra now that we do have another level higher than that. So there's a core season, core level, which most of the kids are in. There's the spring select. Again, it only happens in the spring, but it is a semi club level team. And then we go on to the extra program. The extra program, I'm not going to lie, is very, very, very competitive. This is club level soccer. I always say it's a club level soccer at an AYSO price. The coaches that get picked for this program go through a heavy vetting process. They have to be super committed because, as many of you have heard already, AYSO is a 100% volunteer organization where no one gets paid. So the coaches that do the extra program have to love soccer and want to coach soccer for these kids to get them ready. I always say get them ready to go into high school soccer and stuff, whatever. But yeah, it's club-like soccer, again, at an AYSO price. But again, it has to be a child that wants to always play soccer, love soccer, and then a parent willing to spend that kind of commitment, that kind of time for their child and for the program. It does also involve for the parents to be more involved within our region. We do ask to do extra duties, like the program says, and to help us out in the region so that we can be successful as a region, and then we can obviously support the extra level program. Again, it's a great program. My son that went through it for many, many years. He no longer plays soccer, but he loved it. It was very competitive, very difficult, but we trained hard. We trained very, very hard. And if interested, this is a 10 to 11-month program. It is travel. You do travel a little further. You can go as far as Chino, Corona, Fontana, Moreno Valley, Paris, Fontana, Beaumont, all sorts of cities. But again, it is club-like experience at an AYSO price. And if your child gets like, oh, I forgot to mention that too. This is the extra program is has to be I'm sorry, your child has to be selected from a committee. Your child would come to a tryout, and the committee formed of experienced coaches and board members would be the ones that would pick the players for the team. The coach doesn't even pick the team. The coach is accepted to be the coach, but then the committee would be the one picking the players. And basically, what we're looking for is superstar talent to be on these extra teams. But again, a lot of fun. We start thinking about that. You can write that down too. And right around May, towards the end of our core season, is when we start thinking about the extra program. Coaches start applying, and then we start sending dates for tryouts. Tryouts typically happen June, middle of June, end of June, at the latest July, and then the team is formed by middle of July. And then it goes from August to the following June. That's how long it goes, and it's a year-long process. Tremendous fun, a lot of fun. It is a travel team, but it would be lots of fun for a kid that's really dedicated. Go ahead. And that's it
Awesome.
for me. I'll come back in a little bit.
Yeah, thank you, Carlos. You'll definitely be hearing from Carlos a lot in a little bit. So just some additional information from me on my end, everybody. So we'll go through a few things. Equipment list. Josh was kind of going through this a little bit during his slides, but I'll kind of reiterate a little bit. So as far as your uniform, it's going to be a jersey, shorts, and socks, and we will provide these uniforms to you. And by the way, just a heads up, and I was going to talk about this later, but I may as well bring it up now. As far as uniforms go, how we typically do it is we will provide the uniforms to the coaches, and then the coaches, once you know who the coach is and once you guys get together, the coach will then be responsible for getting in touch with you, getting together, and then providing the uniforms, right? So that's how it's going to typically go. Now, players are required 100% to wear shin guards underneath their socks. So that's another little requirement that you're aware of. So if you dress up your children for a soccer Saturday, you got to make sure that the shin guards themselves are touching the skin and they're underneath the socks. Highly, highly important. If the referee sees this, they will ask them to go back to the parents and fix it, right?
Keep
Cleats.
in mind, sorry, I'm gonna jump in real quick. That's practices also. Parents, if your players come to practice without shin guards, they are not allowed to participate in practice.
Absolutely right. Good call, Josh. Thank you, man. Real quick, cleats are not required, everybody, but they're absolutely highly, highly, highly recommended. So we would ask that you guys get cleats. And by the way, I'll talk about this a little bit later, but there is going to be a coupon that we're going to have for Dick's Sporting Goods on the weekend of our meet and greet. So that way you guys can buy whatever equipment, and that includes cleats as well, and shin guards and everything else. So as far as soccer balls are concerned, for you, schoolyard up until 8U, you got size 3, 10U and 12U, you got size 4, 14U and above, size 5. Really, really important bullet point: water. Please bring lots of water. Send your kids with lots of water. And kind of like what Josh was saying a second ago, practices, games, everything you could possibly think of. As you guys know, in Temecula and Murrieta, it gets really hot here later in the year. It may not be that way right now. It's kind of cold, but it will get super hot. So please, please, please make sure you bring water. On our end, just as a heads up to you guys, we are going to have some water at the board's head. But to be honest with you guys, that water is mostly meant for all the volunteers that are volunteering throughout the day. It's not meant for the kids. Now, if any child needs some water, we're never going to reject them, but it's super important that you guys make sure that your children have their water with them. Some bullet points on what's not allowed. So no jewelry. So for example, earrings, watches, necklaces, no hats, no baseball hats, nothing with the brim, nothing hard can be worn during these games. We'll make sure to check those as referees. We'll make sure that those things are off at all times. Medical alert bracelets are the only exception, so those are okay. Sunglasses are not allowed unless they're prescription. So if, for example, your child needs prescription glasses out there and they have sunglasses, then that's okay, but they have to be prescription glasses. No casts or splints out there, even if they're padded. We want to make sure that everybody out there is safe. And sometimes even when they're padded, there might be some parts of it that might be poking out, or they're a little hard or whatever. We don't want any of the kids to get hurt. So it's important that we do not wear those. Soft braces, if they're 100% soft, they will be considered okay. Of course, our referees will check those, our board members will check those, but soft braces are okay. Another FYI real quick, anything in the hair for the girls, I know we kind of talked about this a few bullet points a second ago, but anything in the hair for the girls, especially if it's hard in any kind of way, whether it be beads or anything they're wearing in the hair, cannot wear those. If the girls are wearing those at all, we will ask them to remove them. Earrings, we talked about that, but we'll make sure to ask those to be removed as well. So just heads up on all of that. Practice and game field. So the games at Murrieta will take place at Warm Springs Middle School. The entrance is through Torrey Pines, so it can get a little bit confusing, but we'll make sure to give you the address at all times. The address is actually on the slide right now, but you enter through Torrey Pines, and it's the fields that actually belong to Warm Springs Middle School, right? Practices for AYSO now, a majority of the practices will take place at the exact same fields, but there are going to be some parks that are surrounding the Murrieta area that some of the coaches are going to be asked to select from as well. None of these parks, they're all basically really close by to Murrieta, and if the coaches pick those, that's where the practices will be. But I would say a good vast majority of the practices will occur at Torrey Pines / Warm Springs. List of parks and addresses are available on the website. So if any point you're curious about what what locations there are, they're available there, and we'll make sure to send you that information as well. When it's game day, and if you guys are curious as far as what side you're supposed to sit on, like for example, if you're the home team or you're the away team, just remember that the side of the field that's closest to the parking lot. So imagine you're entering from the parking lot, the side of the field that's closest to the parking lot is always going to be away. The side that's furthest away from the parking lot is always going to be considered home. So we have a quick little diagram on here, and I'll talk about something else as well. Spectator seating for all select teams, and that includes 10U select, 12U select, 14U select, 16U select teams, and that's the select program, everybody, and I'll explain that a little bit more in a second. So those select program teams, 14U division and 16U division, if you look at the diagram on the upper right, parents and spectators, you need to sit to the left of the assistant referee. Okay, so you're always making sure if the assistant referee is on one side of the field, you are sitting to the left, and that's to the left of the coaches as well. You can't sit in the middle. So that's something new that we are being asked by our area to do for the select program. So 10U all the way to 16U, and for 14U and 16U divisions. Now, if you're a core program division like 8U, 10U core, 12U core, not select, then you'll be able to sit all along the actual sidelines. So, or the touchline. So don't worry about that too much. If that gets a little confusing, don't worry. We'll make sure your coaches are aware. Your coaches will let you know and remind you of this as well. Commissioner's Cup, we will have a bit more info about this as well. I think Carlos is going to touch on it too. Just so you guys know, the Commissioner's Cup is our end of the year season tournament, and it's for the 8U division, the 12U division, or I'm sorry, the 10U division, 12U division. And even though it says TBD on here, I should have updated it, but I never got a chance to. It's going to include the 14U division as well. Basically, any division that has at least 2+ teams from 8U and up will get invited. 16U is a little trickier because they only have about 2 teams right now. But if it's like 3 teams and up, and I misspoke a second ago, 3 teams and up, you'll be part of the Commissioner's Cup. And it's a fun event. You do have to hit your volunteer points, and Carlos Torres will go into that in a little bit, so I'm not going to talk about that too much. But it's an end-of-year event where all of the teams who qualified, it has nothing to do with your record or how well you did for the year. It has everything to do with whether or not you hit your volunteer points for the season. If you did, you're invited. And you get to be part of this awesome tournament. We have vendors everywhere. We have balloons. We make it into a little bit of an event. We kind of make it into a very special end of the season. Thank you so much for being here type event, which is a lot of fun. This year, it's going to take place on 2 days. It's going to take the elimination games are going to happen on Saturday, May 20th. And from those elimination games, if your teams happen to move on, then the championship games will happen on Sunday, May 21st. So we have 2 days. The second one based on whether or not you continue on. So, and I mentioned a second ago, as long as you fulfill your volunteer points, you guys will be invited. And again, Carlos Torres will go into that in a little bit more detail a little bit further on. For the 14U and 16U division, now for the 14U, if you end up winning the Commissioner's Cup, you will be deemed the 14U Commissioner's Cup champion. For the 16U division, as long as you hit your volunteer points and you have the best record, you will be considered the 16U champion. And those 2 champions will also attend an end of season tournament in June. The location of that is TBD. The last couple of seasons, we had it at Menifee and Paris. We're not sure exactly where that's going to be happening quite yet. Once we find out, we'll let you know. But again, it's going to be an awesome, fun tournament that's going to be happening on a Saturday and Sunday. So for 14U and 16U divisions, please look forward to that. Recognition pins. If you guys have been with us for the last, 3 to 4 years, these have been very, very popular. What this is for each game, 6U division and up, we basically award these region recognition pins to one player on each of the opposing teams, right? And what we tend to do, this is a little different for 6U. For 8U and up, what we tend to do is we ask the coach of a team to be on the lookout for one player of the opposing team and just kind of think about the theme. So say, for example, if it's the team player pin, which you're seeing on the screen, well, maybe it's somebody that did a great job of being a team player with his teammates, right? If it's the hustle pin, maybe it's a player who maybe they didn't score at all, but you could tell they were trying their hearts out, right? There was that one kid who was just doing extremely well and was trying super hard. So that coach will look out for a kid from the opposing team to give that pin to. And believe me, when it's the opposing team, it means so much more to the children to receive it from somebody else who's not their coach, right? So that's a lot of fun. We do that every single week for every one of the teams. For the 6U division specifically, for any 6U parents out there, we do that division a little bit differently. We want to make sure for 6U that each of your children at least gets one pin, right? So the coaches themselves will be responsible for giving it to one child per week. And at some point, we got to make sure we tell these 6U coaches, and we will during the coach meeting, of course. And if you happen to be here, that's great. That you have to make sure to keep tabs on which children have received these pins. So you make sure there's one per. As a heads up for anybody in the Schoolyard program, if you're kind of wondering, well, why doesn't Schoolyard do this? We ended up trying to do this for several years in Schoolyard, and we noticed one thing always happen without fail. We would give the pin to the Schoolyard child, and the Schoolyard child would be happy and ecstatic and jumping for joy, and every single one of the other kids in Schoolyard would start crying. And so it was just not a fun experience really for the kids. And even some of the parents were like, can we not give this? So we stopped. So we only start pins from 6U and up. It seems like the kids at that point kind of have a better understanding at that point. But yeah, that is the region pin recognition program. It's been working awesome, and we look forward to doing it again this year. A few other upcoming events. Some of these I'll talk about a little bit later as well. If you're wondering, when am I going to hear from my coach? That's going to be happening really, really soon. What ends up happening almost every single time is we have our coach orientation meeting, which is happening on Tuesday, which Josh is going to be leading. And almost either right before or immediately after, those coaches are given their rosters. And right after that, those coaches are instructed, as soon as you have your rosters, start contacting the parents, email, phone calls, text, pigeons, whatever they can figure out to kind of get information to the parents. That's what we ask the coaches to do. So keep in mind, you will be hearing from your coaches, I would say, starting next Wednesday and before up into Saturday, which is our meet and greet. And by the way, that segues into our player and coach meet and greet. So just a heads up to everybody, save the date. We've been sending out info about this a little bit. Saturday, February 25th. So not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, starting in the morning up until about 2 o'clock. There is going to be a meet and greet for your players. It's a chance for your players to come to the event, meet the board members, shake hands with their coaches. The coaches can give you guys information on expectations and information on practice times. And just, it's a chance for everybody to meet each other. We smile, we laugh, we have a good time. So it's going to be great. I'll go over that even more in a bit. So I'm gonna move away from that, but it's going to be happening at Dick's Sporting Goods. And like I mentioned before, there's going to be a 20% coupon in case you guys need any equipment on that weekend. So heads up on that. Practices start date. So the very first date available to start practices is Monday, February 27th. Now that doesn't mean, just as a heads up to you, that doesn't mean that you absolutely 100% will be starting on Monday, February 27th. It's purely, that just means that's when practices can begin, right? Your coaches will tell you a day as far as what days your practice will be. Some of them might say Monday, Wednesdays. Some of them might say Tuesdays, Thursdays. It's going to be up to your coaches. So they'll give you a heads up at the coach meet and greet as far as when your practices are. Actually, maybe even before then when they do their introductory email, right? So you'll know that. Uniform distribution, I briefly talked about that, but that will be happening soon, and it obviously needs to happen before picture day, which I'll get into in a second. But again, your coaches will get boxes. They will get the boxes of uniforms, and the coaches will be responsible to contact you, the parent, and let you know the best time to get together to get your uniforms. So information on that is coming soon as well from your coaches. Picture day, that one's going to be Sunday, March 5th. Times for all the divisions. Each division is going to have its own separate time. So we will provide that information as far as a schedule sometime in the very near future, but please make sure to keep Sunday, March 5th open for this. It's going to be a lot of fun. We try to make it a little bit of an event, almost a little bit like an opening day. Not only we're going to have pictures, but we're going to have stuff out there, for sale. We're going to potentially have sweatshirts and AYSO 143 soccer ball on sale and just little games, just have a good time. So it's a chance for everybody to have a good time, take pictures, get to know one another a little bit more, and ask whatever questions you have at the board as well. So more information on picture day, which is Sunday, March 5th, is coming very, very soon. Game schedule. If you guys I get this a lot, but when are we getting the game schedule? Just so you guys are aware, the game schedule is always one of the absolute last things that we provide the parents. And if you're wondering why, it's mostly because we have so many other regions to worry about. We have the 14, we have Spring Select that has all the various regions in Riverside. We have to coordinate all of those schedules with them first, get that finalized. And once that's all good to go, then we can cascade down to our own schedules to make sure everything's good to go, which is the reason why the game schedules take so long and why it comes out so late. But as soon as we have it available, we will let you know. First game, opening day, first game, Epic program is going to be Friday, March 10th. For core divisions, it's going to be Saturday, March 11th. For 14U and 16U, it's to be announced. It's probably going to be Saturday, March 11th as well, but there's still a little bit of we're still working on that behind the scenes. So we're trying to coordinate that. So we'll let you know soon. A lot of this information, we will give you guys reminders. We do want to let you know that we are going to be closed the weekend of March 18th. So our first weekend is March 11th. And unfortunately, the very next weekend, we are going to be closed. We're not going to have a game that weekend. We're going to be, a lot of our board members are going to be at what's called the AYSO Expo, which is our big AYSO Southern California conference that we're all pretty much required to go to. So we will be closed that weekend. And then we're also going to be closed Easter weekend, which is April 8th. So heads up on that. We'll send you guys reminders, but no Friday and no Saturday activities on those weekends. During the week before Friday, if coaches want to have practices Monday through Thursday, we can work something out. But on that Friday and Saturday, we're going to be closed. So keep that in mind. All right, let's move right back to Carlos Torres. He is going to talk to you guys a little bit about volunteering. Go for it, Carlos.
Okay, guys, go ahead and push the slide, Hyman. So, AYSO, we mentioned before, and I will say it over and over, AYSO is a 100% volunteer organization. The organization is only as good as the people behind it. Luckily, we do have a great leader in our ranks by the name of Jaime. Jaime is our regional commissioner. He's the one doing most of the talking, but he keeps all of us as board members very, very organized. And he assigns us specific tasks and we get them done, right? So it's a very organized region. But that being said, we're all volunteers, right? We all have full-time jobs. We all have full-time families, obviously. And yet we love to do this because we want to provide a pleasant experience, a wonderful, enjoyable experience for the kids, the coaches, and then you guys as parents and guardians and family, right? So it's important that we do that. We take a lot of pride in it. All of us as board members do that. But we cannot do it without volunteers. We need you guys not to help us a lot. If you want to, absolutely, and I'll talk more about that. But at the very least, to help us a little. If everyone helps a little, it makes the organization a lot better and it makes it a lot easier. So, an AYSO volunteer can be anything. It can be a coach, a referee, it could be a board member, it could be a field manager. We have many, many positions that are open that if you decided or if you be willing to take on, it would make things a lot easier for everyone else and then make it more enjoyable for everybody else. Volunteering at AYSO again is a more of a way to help the community to enhance the program and just to make it more enjoyable for everybody. And who can volunteer? Anyone can volunteer. It can be you, it can be a brother, it can be a sister, it can be a grandpa. Anyone who's willing to volunteer an hour of their time a week or 2 hours a week, whatever, we're more than glad to allow you to come help us and stuff, whatever. So go ahead and push the slide. Amen. So again, anyone can volunteer. I started 5 years ago as a team parent, then assistant coach, then as a head coach, and I've been here ever since. Now I'm a board member, and loved it ever since. And again, I do it, to be honest. Again, my son doesn't play soccer anymore, but my daughter is still playing. But to be honest, I do it for the kids. I love watching the kids play soccer on Saturday. I mean, I'm seeing them practice during the week. I just love seeing the joy that they have. Instead of them playing video games at home or watching TV at home, I want kids to be active and be out there, right? So that's why I do it, and I'm sure that's why a lot of the volunteers or board members do it as well. So, but volunteer roles, we have coaches, assistant coaches, referees, assistant referees, youth referees, epic buddies. But there's a lot of volunteer positions that are open or volunteer roles that you can fulfill. All volunteers, though, do have to go through a safety training and certification. I'm sure you, as a parent, would definitely agree that it's important for every person that interacts with our children is at least gone through background checks and life scan screening, and then have gone through some safety training to make sure that at the very least they have a core foundation of what to do in case something happens and or identify if anything could be wrong. So they go through a course called Safe Haven. They go through CDC concussion protocols, sudden cardiac arrest protocols, a Safe Sport, which, believe it or not, is a sexual harassment course geared around youth and sports. Again, live scan certification, which is fingerprinting, and then of course coach and assistant coach certifications, and last but not least, of course, referee certifications, because our league needs referees, and we, the volunteers, are the referees. So, but we help you through the entire process. Do not be intimidated by this list. It is mostly, I would say, 80 to 85% online. You do it at your own leisure. You do it at your own pace, and we help you through the entire process. So it may seem daunting at first, but it actually is very, very, very easy and very pleasant to go through.
And,
Go ahead, Jaime.
and by the way, just a quick little point, and I know you're probably going to mention this, Carlos, but for many of these, almost all of them, once you do it once, so for example, Safe Haven, concussion center, cardiac arrest, or anything, once you do it once, you're done, right? So it's not a situation where you're going to have to do all these all over again the very next season. You're pretty much good to go. I think the only exception somewhat is Safe Sport, but for the most part, you're good to go. So just keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So when I talk to coaches, and again, I probably called every one of you here on this call today, um, convincing you to or help us be a coach, then once I convince you, then I have to explain to you, you have to do all this training. But like Jaime said, it's always painful in the beginning, right? And it's not really that much. It seems like a lot, but it really isn't. But once you do it once, it's lifetime. So the only thing you would have to do the next season, once you coach once, is just do the application to be a coach again, and you're done, right? And it's that simple. So, anyways, continue. Uh, One of the things we do, and Mara will bring this up, and Jaime already brought it up and stuff, whatever. It's very, very important that you understand that we have to respect the volunteers. That includes the coaches and the referees. The coaches that volunteered, some of you are on this call. Some of them had to be convinced by me, and some of them just did it on their own, right? But I don't want to use the word protect, but we do protect the program, right? So no one is perfect. I myself have made mistakes as a coach and as a referee. So I'm not going to say I'm perfect. I made bad calls or I made a bad decision. But just remember, at the end of the day, the reason we do this is for the kids, right? So we ask you as parents and guardians and family, please respect all the volunteers. They're there for you to enjoy your kids playing soccer and to have fun while you're out there. Just remember that. Well, of course, we're competitive. Some people are more competitive than others, but just remember that we do it for the kids, and that's all that matters, right? Referees are not doing things wrong on purpose. I promise you, if they missed a call, they missed a call. Coaches are not making bad decisions on purpose. If they made a bad decision, they made a bad decision. It's just the way it goes, right? At the end of the day, I guarantee you, especially the younger kids, yeah, they might be upset they won or lost a game within the first 5 minutes of the game, but immediately after that, their only focus is the snacks. Okay, so that's all they remember. And at the end of the day, trust me, they're going to remember the coach. They're going to remember the experience they had with you there watching their game. That's all that matters to them. The kids just look at you and are just happy that you're there watching them and allow them to come play soccer and spend time out there with them. So just remember that always, always, if you get upset, just turn around, walk away, okay? And just respect the volunteers at all times. Go ahead. We also do have, if at any point you start volunteering and you want to be more involved, we gladly and would very happily accept you as a board member. You can even come to all our board member meetings are open to the public. Anyone can come. Sometimes we do them through Zoom or Google Meet. Anyone can attend. And then if you're ever so inclined to actually jump in and want to become part of the organization and be more involved, we definitely would welcome you. Here are some of the board member roles that we have. Most of these are filled already, but we have other board member positions that we would definitely need. One of them is a fundraiser. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jaime, but a fundraiser coordinator would be one that we need. Social media coordinator, we need that because Jaime does that right now. Yeah, so some of you are good at what you do with your own personal jobs, right? So if you could bring that expertise into organization, it would make it that much more organized and that more efficient for us. So here's a picture of a lot of our board members. Again, I just want you to remember this one thing, and you may not believe this. I actually had a couple seasons ago a parent tell me because I was asking them, I needed them to volunteer or whatever, and then the parent, believe it or not, turned around and said to me, "What does your salary pay for?" And I'm like, "My salary? What are you talking about? I don't get paid." And then I told them, "Look, man, this is all volunteer. We don't get paid at all. None of us get paid." And the parent could not believe it. The parent apologized and said, "I'm so sorry, Carlos. I didn't realize that you guys run this so well that I thought you guys got paid," which is a compliment to us, right? But so it made me think, man, I wonder if people think that we get paid out here, but nobody. We all do it for you guys. We do it for the kids. We do it for the sport. We do it for our community. So please, please, if you feel inclined to help us, come to a board meeting and see what it's like. And if you want to be more involved, become a board member. We gladly would take you. Go ahead. There's my information. Everything is on our website. Jaime, like I said, is our social media director on top of everything else he does. He does a great job of putting things on our website. Everything we do is always immediately by the next day put on our website. You can find everything there, but you would find me under the volunteer portal. There's my picture. There's both my emails. Reach out to me. Like Josh said, if I don't have an answer, I'll point you to the person that can answer the question for you. So I always say, and I always make my phone number available. You can call me anytime, any day or night. And if I don't answer you, I will call you back. And moving on. So volunteer points program. Now, with all that being said about volunteers, we developed a system called the volunteer point system. Some of you are aware of it. The volunteer point system is developed or was developed to increase participation within our region. What does it mean? It means that in order for our end of the season Commissioners Cup tournament, which is super exciting for the kids, every team is required to hit a certain number of volunteer points per category. Okay, so it's not a total of volunteer points, it's a total points per category. The categories are as follow. They are tent duty, field lining, pictures, coach certifications, referee points, referee certifications, and miscellaneous points, sportsmanship points, which are very, very important. And then last but not least, the player evaluations. Now, sportsmanship points are, again, this is another way for us to protect the referees. If at any point a referee feels that either the coach or a parent on the sideline or parents on the sideline are acting up or being negative or making comments or whatever, the referee at that point would then knock down sportsmanship points. You get a total number of 5 points per game. If you lose 1 point, obviously you drop down to 4. If you lose 2 points, you drop down to 3. You can only lose, I think the sportsmanship program is 3 points or 4 points for the entire season. If you lose 4 points for the entire season, whether you're in first place or not, your team does not participate in the Commissioner's Cup in a season tournament, which obviously every coach and every player wants to be in. So that eliminates a lot of the problems, so whatever. So each team is required, again, I reiterate this again, it is by category, okay? So each head coach has to be certified. Each head coach has to be certified as a referee. Those are two different categories. Referee points, each division has a certain number of referee points they have to have, which means that the team has to provide referees for another game, not their own game, another game. Miscellaneous points, and that involves all sorts of things like lining the fields, um, tent duty, extra tent duty, providing extra pictures, having a team manager, having an assistant coach. Those are miscellaneous points. Tent duty points, we only ask for 4 points, which is 1 hour per week, or you can do them all in 1 week, do 4 hours, and then you're done, right? But at least 4 hours for the entire season. Sportsmanship points we talked about, again, it's 5 points per game. You can only lose 4 for the entire season. Picture points, we ask for 4 pictures, action shots. All parents take pictures, or a majority of parents take pictures during the kids' games. All we ask is that you send us 4 action shots per team, and then the last picture being the pin winner, the pin winner, the person, the child that won the pin with their coach. So those 5 pictures being sent to us would suffice the weekly requirement for pictures. And what just so you know, what we do with those pictures is Jaime will get those pictures and he'll post them on our social media sites. Trust me, your kids are going to enjoy watching their game on Facebook, on Instagram. They see it up there. If they won the pin, they're displaying their pin. They're highlighted as the pin winner. They absolutely. I know my daughter didn't win, or my son didn't win every week, but they did win a couple times, and they loved it as they were aging up through the programs. And then the last thing is the player evaluations. We ask every coach to fulfill the player evaluations, evaluate each player on the team. They send it over to me. Only I see it, and the registrar sees it. So that the reason we do that is to create more balanced teams for the following season, right? So that's why we do that. So those are each category. I know I read it super quick. Don't worry. I'm going to give you a QR code in a minute so that you can actually scan it and see the whole program on its own. You can read it slowly or whatever. Go ahead. Go back. I'm sorry, Jaime. So there is parent responsibilities as well too. These are just things that are just general things that have to happen. For every game, you got to make sure that every team has to be at least 30 minutes early to their game, and they have to check the fields to make sure that it's safe, meaning that the goals and the nets are set up correctly, the flags are set up correctly, there's no holes or any issues on the field. So every team picks a side, and they do that for each game. And then that happens if you're the first game of the day. So if you're the first game of the day, typically 8:30 in the morning or 9 in the morning on that field, that team would have to do that. At the end of the day, if you're the last game of the day, then those two teams would pick a side and they would put everything away. They would put the goals away, they would put the nets away, they put the sandbags away, they put everything back from where we started in the beginning and pick up any trash around there. We ask all parents to do that. Again, if you're the first game or the last game on the field, that will remind you, the referee will remind you, the board members will remind you. But if you could just help your coaches, please don't let your coaches have to do everything on their own. That's not right. They already coach the team. The last thing you want is for them to have to put everything away themselves. Okay, go ahead. And here is the QR code. So right now we're going to give you like 20 seconds. If you want to take out your phone, use your phone camera app, go to the QR camera, scan that QR code, and it'll pull up the volunteer point system. Everything I just talked about. Obviously, save it, and then you can go through it at your own pace and your own time, so you can understand the way the program works. If you do have any questions, of course, always reach out to me or any board member. All this information, again, is also on our website. This particular information I covered is under volunteer portal or volunteer tab, and everything will be there as well. I think that's it, Jaime. Go ahead. Yeah, and thank you guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Carlos. And like Carlos was saying a second ago, it's all on our website. And the great news about Carlos is that he does an incredible job of sending everybody tons of information week after week. So one of the things I was going to remind everybody, number one, you are going to get a copy of this presentation. It'll be posted on the website by Saturday, end of day Saturday. But even then, it's not done, right? Carlos, Josh, Mauro, everybody on our team will send you guys updates week after week, whether it be via text or emails or whatever. You guys will get inundated with information. So if you ever need anything, you will have it available to you. So, all right. So let's move on to the referee program, which is an awesome, fantastic program that is run by a gentleman by the name of Mauro Guevara. He is going to walk you through the referee program for us. Mauro, feel free to take it away, sir. Uh-oh, hold on a sec. Go try it now, Mauro.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, hello everybody. Thank you very much for taking the time today for listening to the presentation. I know Jaime and the rest of the board members put a lot of time into this, and it's a lot of good tips and bits to take away from this. Myself, I've been a volunteer since 2009, board member 2013. Like everybody else, I started as a parent, and I'm the ref admin refereeing games. Next slide. So like Carlos been talking in the past of volunteers, we need referees, right? Without the referees as responsible for enforcing the laws of the game. So referee in AY is very challenging, rewarding, is very nervously for the first time. If you want to volunteer, don't feel bad. It happens to all of us. Our job is also to keep the game safe, fair, and fun for the kids, right? That's a responsibility. Certified referee is required for AU and up matches. Without a referee, there's no games. So any parents, if you have any seniors, any older kids that want to volunteer, become a referee, please do so, join the team. We always need referees every weekend, right? So like I said, join the team, help us out. You know, we got a lot of senior referees that are getting a little bit older, so we're not gonna be a little bit longer. So we need a new generation to join us and referee these games. Next slide. AU division and youth referees, right? We always want to start building the new generation of referees, so we want to start at the AU level, right? We got an AU class, we got regional classes. The youth referees can come over and take the class and help us out. What does that do for you referee benefits? It counts as community service. And youth referees in an AU match will always be mentored, right? We'll always have a mentor. It's either a board member, a senior referee assigned by myself or Steve, will assign a mentor to help to guide them through the process so they're not nervous. They got somebody to ask any questions after the game. Youth referee regulations. Referees officiating AU matches must be 2 years older. So if you have any younger kids that want to referee this match, they have to be at least 10 to 12 years old to help us out right there. If you look at the bottom, there will be zero tolerance or dissent or abuse on any youth referee. I mean, that goes for any referee. Any referee, anybody on a yellow jersey, and there's any type of abuse that will not be tolerated. There will be consequences on that. Next slide. As always, you know, we try to come up with classes. We just had a couple classes about a couple weeks ago. Steve is our certified instructor. We had 3 classes. We had several coaches, some parents that took advantage of the class. There's another class coming up on February the 21st in Menifee. So any parents, any coaches that are watching this right now, any youth kid and the younger kids that want to go to the class, please sign up on eTrainU on the 21st of February in Menifee. And it's online companion, right? You do all the work online and then you just show up for the class and you all do field work and you certify as a referee. What are you gonna go there? Learn the laws of the game, pretty much. If you're a coach, please, all coaches 8U and above are required to attend a regional referee class. What does that do for you? It will build you up as a coach. You start understanding what the referees are calling on the field. Instead of yelling on the field, say, what is that call all about? So please, if you want to volunteer, please sign up for the class. And more to follow, another class that will be coming up before our opening day. There will be emails and going through all the coaches and volunteers. Next slide. As always, Carlos, everybody else, coaches, volunteers, please, 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 this is where we need your help. We haven't seen it a lot here in Marietta, but please respect the referees. It doesn't matter if you're youth or any senior referee. Any type of disrespect to a referee will not be tolerated. I'll repeat that again, it will not be tolerated. So help us out on that. Please cheer for your kids, cheer for the team, but any disrespect of the referees will not be tolerated. As always, next slide. I think this is my information. Here's my email. Send me any questions that you have, any concerns, any classes, anything that you have during the field. As if you're already a referee, if you have any questions after the game, please email me. Also, Steve Didum he help us out too. He's a very motivated volunteer. He's our instructor too. So he put in us some classes to get you guys certified. Other than that, that's all, everything I have. If you have any questions, please just email me.
Awesome. Thank you, Mauro. And then real quick, not to put you on the spot, Steve, but is there any couple of words that you wanted to say real fast?
I've been at this for 17 years now. Haven't had a child in the program for over 10, but I'm still motivated to come out and work with the like-minded people that are here to support our kids to have a great time playing soccer. And just to reiterate what Mauro said, for all the work that happens during the week to get the kids ready to play a game, if we don't have a certified referee available to cover that match, that game can't be played. And so all of the work that was put in that week by the parents and the coaches to get those kids ready is for naught, because the kids don't get to play. So whatever you can do to make yourself available to help with our referee program, that'd be greatly appreciated. Just recognize that when we're refereeing an 8U or a 10U game, you're really just managing a play date. It's really no more difficult than that. So just, we've got people here to help you through it. It's managing a play date. Come out, give it a try. Like I said, I've been doing this for 17 years now. So
awesome.
Just look forward to working with you.
There it is.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Mauro. And then real quick, if I can add just a quick little story on that. So kind of similar to what Steve was saying a second ago. So just so you guys are aware, a lot of the parents out there, you're aware, when I first started this league about 8 years ago or so, I came in knowing zero about soccer. I did not grow up watching soccer. I knew nothing about soccer. I grew up playing baseball. I played high school. Like baseball was my game. I knew zero. And it wasn't until about 2 or 3 years into the league where I decided to go ahead and take a referee class. And all of a sudden that referee class just opened my eyes as far as like starting to understand the laws of the game, right? So that was almost like step one. And then all of a sudden I got out there and became an assistant referee. I'm out there with the flag and I'm thinking, oh, okay, I'm starting to I'm watching what the referee's doing. This is kind of fun. I'm getting a little bit of exercise. I'm hanging out with the kids. I'm laughing. I'm having a good time. This is great. And then fast forward years later, and all of a sudden it's like, I love to referee. Like I watch soccer games with my wife all the time. We're all talking about soccer all the time. I'm watching the World Cup. I'm watching, and it's funny because now, yeah, I'm watching the games, but now I'm mostly just watching the referees, right? So all I'm trying to say here is, if you yourself feel like, well, I don't know if I can referee, I don't know anything about soccer. Well, guess what? A lot of us didn't either. I think Carlos, you might have been in a similar boat. I don't think you knew anything about soccer when you first came in. And now Carlos is an exceptional coach, right? And referee as well. So if you have any interest, jump in. If you're thinking about being a coach, if you are a coach, absolutely jump in. It's going to help your game, like Mauro was saying a second ago. If you have kids that are in like 12U, 14U, or whatever, we highly recommend you send them to the classes, because it's going to help those players improve their game as well, as far as becoming a better player by knowing the laws. So just keep that in mind as well. Cool.
And if I can interrupt real quick, Jaime, too, one last thing, and I apologize, Hamaro, but I don't remember you saying it. We have a wonderful referee mentor program. Do not be afraid to referee. Obviously, we ask all coaches and assistant coaches to be certified as referees, but don't be afraid to referee games. If you need us there, we will be by your side for the first couple of games. We will never leave you by yourself. So you will never, ever have to be afraid. We will guide you through the entire process. Some people need 2, 3 games for us to be there. Some people need 6 games for us to be there. We will be there by your side until you feel comfortable. So being a referee in our region we ease you into the process. So please, please, as a parent, help your team out, because without you guys helping your coach out, your team is not going to qualify for the Commissioner's Cup. So just remember that. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Makes sense, Carlos. If anything, we got to make a point of remembering that for the next time we should add a slide in there for mentoring program for sure, which by the way, Mauro and Steve have done a great job of putting together. So thank you for that, Carlos. And thank you, Mauro and Steve. Perfect. Let's keep moving on. So we're going to move over to safety procedures. As you guys are aware, just like everything else, we got to make sure safety is is paramount as well in AYSO 1463. Lots of safety procedures that we got to make sure we recognize. So we have Jim Simpson, who was our safety safety director. I was about to say coordinator, but sir, you've been promoted to director, safety director. So Jim will run us by through the slides. So feel free, Jim, take it away.
Thank you very much. I just want to reiterate, what Steve and Mauro and Jaime and Carlos have said about volunteering. And I came into the region about 10 years ago when my oldest son started playing. And, I had no knowledge of soccer. I even though I grew up watching and playing a bunch of sports, I never, watched or played soccer really. Grew up in the Midwest, so it wasn't, as big a thing whenever I was a kid back there. But just have learned so much about the game and have really enjoyed it. And, me and both my sons now have, really enjoyed being in this league for a long time. And then my involvement has just increased over the years. So really enjoy the people that, are on the board and just being around them. So we'll get into the safety procedures now. A lot of the things really that you'll probably think about are going to be weather related, as far as like if we're able to play because of safe field conditions. AYSO 1463 does not cancel games due to just rain. However, the city of Murrieta might. If games are canceled or practices are canceled, coaches will notify you. There's a link to all of the Murrieta fields that you can go to on the park site that will tell you if the fields are open or closed. And we will go by that whenever it is just raining. So we'll update our social media pages and send out emails through and alerts through Sports Connect. So that's the way that you're going to get that information on if there's too much rain where the fields are closed and we're not able to play. Now, on a side note to that, if there is thunder and lightning, then all play is stopped immediately, and everyone should leave the field for a safe area, which is typically your car. Play cannot resume until at least 30 minutes after all thunder and lightning have stopped in the area. So a 30-minute break after the last thunder and lightning strike. As far as heat policy, this can certainly come into effect in Southern California. The day is deemed too hot or air quality due to wildfires or things like that. That's in the past. All games will be given extra water breaks per quarter at minimum. And then we may also have to cancel because of air quality or because of heat. So please make sure to bring lots of water during these days. For instance, if we're going to add extra water breaks, let's take, for instance, a 10U game. Half is 25 minutes, and we usually have a quarter break for 1 minute for the teams to make substitutions and for the players that are staying in between the first and second quarter or between the third and fourth quarter to get water. We may make that water break longer, and unfortunately, it does take time away from their time on the field playing. The half is still a 25-minute running half, but we'll have that extra water break. We'll allow the players to leave the field to move to shaded areas during that time. So those would be kind of the policies that we would, implement. We will basically be letting the referees know of that each morning and that'll be at the referee tent, and also be letting the coaches know of what we're doing whenever they are stopping in to the main tent by the entrance gate. We'll give them that information at that time whenever we're implementing those extra water breaks. If make dates available for any games that are canceled, parents will be notified. May or may not be able to get those in. It depends on the schedule. Some safety notes to keep in mind: non-registered players and volunteers cannot participate in practices or games, and siblings also cannot help during practices. So we went through earlier, Carlos went through all of the steps that were involved for volunteers. You do not need to have all those courses and everything to be out field lining, to be doing tent duty and things like that. But anything where you are interacting with the children, you do have to have that. So you have to be a registered volunteer to be able to participate in practice or games. Under no circumstances at any time should adults be playing in any kind of scrimmages or games at practice or anything like that. And this includes playing games with other adults or mixed with minors. So whether they're registered or not, adults are not allowed to be on the field practicing as a player with the other kids and things like that.
And by the way, Jim, sorry to interrupt you real quick, but just so you guys are aware, and this is for the coaches mostly, and we'll talk about it during the coach meeting, but this includes coaches too. So it's super important that anybody out there who's a coach, this goes for you as well. If you're out there coaching and you're kind of doing some, miscellaneous minor things like kicking the ball to a play, that's okay. You can kind of work with the players, but you can't be as a coach out there running the field and acting as a goalkeeper and getting involved. So that includes coaches as well. Just an additional FYI.
Yeah. We talked about needing a certified referee to play all of the games. There may be times where we have a center referee that's a certified referee, but we may not have assistant referees to be on the sidelines. We can ask parents to be a club linesman. They basically at that point are not making the call of which way the ball goes or anything like that. They are just basically raising their flag that we give them to say that the ball has went out of bounds or out of the field of play. But one thing to keep in mind that a club linesman is not a registered volunteer, and they are not covered by insurance in case some sort of injury does occur. Parents must remain at the field with children for ages 10U and under. What that basically means is there is no drop off during practice. Obviously, you don't have to be out on the pitch with them, but you need to be at the practice field, be available to the coaches in case anything happened. You cannot, drop off your kid and leave and go back to the parking lot, or anything like that. You need to be on the field. At least one parent or guardian, or whoever you turn that over to, whether it's a grandparent, or something like that, needs to be at the field with 10U and under. Discuss any concerns that you may have with your coach about any kind of like learning disabilities that your child may have, anything that comes up along those lines. So if you have a coach that, maybe is teaching things to your son or daughter in a specific way, and you feel like that they are not getting the most out of that because of a learning disability that they have, please feel free to talk to the coach about that. And if you do not, feel comfortable talking to the coach and want some intervention from the board site, then you can always contact, myself or the volunteer coordinator or the coach, the division coordinator for that division. That way we can, follow up with that coach and kind of let them know your concerns. So anything that you have along those lines, please feel free to reach out to us or to talk to the coach directly, first and see how that goes. Make sure to review all of our safety protocols. Those are all available on the safety tab of our website at www.ayso1463.org. So, please review all of those. It'll have all of the information, that I've talked about and more on that website. And one thing to also keep in mind is that no pets are allowed at practices or games. This is for the safety of all the players and really, for yourself and your pet also. So this includes all activities. Service animals are okay, but no pets are allowed at games or practices.
And by the way, for anybody who maybe you're part of the select program or extra program, or you are part of 14U and 16U, this is something that is not just for AYSO 1463. It's for all of AYSO. So AYSO National. If you go to any AYSO fields, if you go anywhere else, they're going to tell you the same thing. No pets are allowed, and if they happen to see a pet, the board members from that region will more than likely ask you to take the pet and escorted off the field, just like we would on ours. So if we see, make sure you keep the pets at home. And like Jim said a second ago, service animals are okay, but please make sure that pets stay at home, please.
And lastly, for me, this is my contact information. You can email me at that email address. There's a link to that on the website. And you can go to that website, highlight the volunteers, and then go into the safety portal and get all this information. You'll also be hearing from me as I'm the ref scheduler. So you'll hear from me that way too. But anything that you need safety wise or also with the referee program to support Mauro and Steve, just please reach out. Happy to help.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, Jim. That was good info, man. All right, everybody. So we're going to get into the last few slides. If anything, wow, time-wise, we're actually doing okay. All right, so we're almost done. We promise. Just want to go through a few other last things before we let you guys go. So this one I briefly talked about, and I'll bring it up again. So save the date. We've brought it up a few times now, but it's Saturday, February 25th. It's the player and coach meet and greet. Like I mentioned before, it's going to be an awesome chance for you guys to go to Dick's Sporting Goods. The kids can meet the coaches. They can all get together and the coaches can provide expectations. If you notice on that graphic that's up on your screen right now, so schoolyard program and 6U division is going to be from 9:30 in the morning to 10:15. Those are your times, right? 8U division, you will be from 10:30 to 11:15. And by the way, all this information is up on the website now. So if you actually were to go up to our website, this banner, this exact banner is actually up there now, so you can review it then. 10U division is from 11:30 to 12:15, and then we're going to combine 12U, 14U, and 16U. Those coaches and those players should be there from 12:30 to 1:15. So those are your designated times for Saturday. There's going to be a bunch of board members. There's going to be a lot going on. So it's going to be a fun time. Absolutely make sure to be there. There's going to be a 20% coupon. So that way you can purchase all the various things you need, whether it be shin guards or cleats or anything you need. And then just a heads up, some of you parents might notice this, the EPIC program, the EPIC coordinator is going to reach out to you soon. She wants to go ahead and do your own little meet and greet, but you are still invited. Absolutely. If you want to show up to the event, use the coupon, meet the board, say hello, you are 100% welcome to show up. And same thing goes for all the spring select teams. All of you pretty much are aware of your coaches already. So really this event doesn't exactly make sense for you, but you are more than welcome to come to the event, say hello, get the coupon, and just kind of hang out. It's an event for everybody, so feel free to join in on the fun. Heads up for the schoolyard and the 6U division programs. Last year when we did this with Dick's Sporting Goods, because they're now at the mall, as many of you guys know, for the early birds, like the 9:30, you got to make sure you enter from the parking lot entrance. If you try to enter from within the mall, those doors are going to be closed. So you're going to wonder yourself, what's going on? Why is it locked? Why can't I get in? The only way to get in to Dick's Sporting Goods from, I believe, 9 to 10 o'clock in the morning is through the parking lot. So keep that in mind. So again, Saturday, February 25th, please make sure to make it. And that goes for coaches as well, obviously. And it's going to be a fun event. Moving on, we got some UKI soccer camps incoming, and I've sent some emails about this to you guys as well. It's UKI International. We briefly touched on them a little bit throughout this session. They're going to have some soccer camps. They're a lot of fun. They're coming in soon. The first session is going to be happening during Marietta spring break. So a lot of you, if you're in the Marietta school district, the spring break is April 3rd to the 7th. That's when the session is happening. So session 1 is April 3rd to the 7th. Session 2 is during the summer, June 19th to the 23rd. Session 3 is from July 10th to the 14th. So there's going to be morning sessions. There's going to be full day sessions, and the full day runs from about 9 o'clock in the morning till about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It is a ton of fun. Lots of, things for these coaches to kind of teach the kids about in regards to soccer, lots of drills, lots of things that they can have fun with. This week only, as a heads up to you, and UKI wanted me to mention this to all of you, if you sign up this week from February 12th to the 19th and use code FEBPROMO, one word, you'll get $25 off from your camp. So absolutely recommended that you guys sign up for these camps. I sign up my kids every single year. They have a really, really good time. So please do so. That is going on right now. Eat-in fundraisers, again, we even though obviously we have registration costs that we collect from the parents, we try to keep those costs as low as we possibly can to cover our costs, right? But what we want to do is make sure we gather as much funding so that way we can kind of get better equipment and give you guys higher quality uniforms and give you incredible looking trophies and medals and all this cool stuff that we need funding for. So one of the things we're doing is what's called Eat-in fundraisers. I'm sure if you're involved with schools and everything else, you guys have dealt with this, but we're going to send you guys notifications from like, restaurants like Carl's Jr. or Chipotle or The Habit or Wendy's, where on a certain day from this time to this time, if you hop into Carl's Jr. and you buy some food, a percentage of the proceeds will go back to AYSO 1463. So once we have that list ready to go, we'll be sure to email out to you guys, but we would absolutely ask that you guys do everything you can to go out there and just, get your dinner for your family on that night at that place. And that way, some of that funding goes back to AYSO 1463. We would greatly appreciate it. Keep going. Sponsorships. This is another way. And again, there's a lot of text. I'm not going to go through every single bullet point here. But this is another way for us to try to get funding. I'm sure some of you, if you're on our social media, you've noticed that we've been posting a few things about our sponsors. They provide us a little bit of funding for us to provide them some notice, right? I mean, in terms of like getting the word out, in terms of companies like Buffalo Wild Wings, right? So if you are somebody that have if you are part of a company or you yourself have a company that you want to have sponsored by AYSO, please let us know. Please let me know. We can have banners out on the field. For anybody who's been to our games before, we have banners out on the field every single Saturday. We send out, email notifications on a weekly basis, and we have your company's name on it with links. Let us know. We would be more than happy to work with you as a sponsor of AYSO 1463. So keep that in mind. Soccer.com, they have a custom fanware store for AYSO 1463. So there is a link on our website. If you go to our main site, the banner may not always be in the main banner, but if you look at one of our links on the right side of the main page, I think the very, very first link is the Soccer.com custom fanware link. And if you hit that, it'll take you to a custom store. There is a ton of shirts and shorts and soccer balls and equipment out there that have 1463 gear stuff in there. And you can even customize some of it. There are certain aspects of it that you could put logos in certain parts of the t-shirts and all that kind of good stuff. So highly recommend you guys check it out. Again, a very small portion of the funds that go to soccer.com will end up going back to us. So that's where it helps us as a fundraiser. But one thing I do want to let keep you guys aware of, soccer.com is a fantastic company. However, in order to make these customized t-shirts and sweatshirts and everything, it does take a little bit of time. So if you order now, it typically takes about 2 to 3 weeks for it to get to your house. So it might take a little bit of time. So if you're interested in doing this, I would highly recommend you do it sooner than later, so that way you have it ready to go by week 1. All right. Social media sites, you guys heard us talk about this a little bit, but we have a Facebook site. It's basically facebook.com/AYSO1463. We have an Instagram site, instagram.com/AYSO1463. We do our best to put notifications as far as events that are upcoming, anything newsworthy. We put up images from every one of our Saturdays. Like Carlos mentioned, like we put up, pictures for your pin winners to celebrate them. We put up little videos for them as well, and the reels and everything. We try to keep, we try to take that very seriously. We have a lot of fun with it. So it's also important for you guys to follow us there, because we do provide a lot of news and notes in there. It's not just pictures, but it's also information about upcoming events, whether it be referee courses, whether it be coach courses, anything like that. So if you haven't already, please make sure to follow us on these sites as soon as you can. It's super important you do. Here's a quick list of our contacts at AYSO 1463 from myself at the very top, regional commissioner. We have our assistant regional commissioner, treasurer, secretary, coach admin, referee admin, registrar, safety director, volunteer coordinator, fields admin, administrator, director of referee assessment. All of these people are here to help you out. Again, if you go to our website, contacts is one of our main buttons on the website. Super easy. Just hit that button and you'll see this list. If there's anything that you need to get in contact for, that's what we're here for. Feel free to get in contact with us and we will get back to you and help you out as best as we can. And I think that's it. We got done a little sooner than I kind of expected. And normally maybe because I didn't speak anywhere near as much as I normally do, but we want to let you know that we are excited. Every single season, we try to up ourselves a little bit from the past season with newer, cooler stuff. And we want to make sure you guys are happy and smile and have fun out there, you and your children, right? All of the board members here do an exceptional job of putting in a tremendous amount of work to do this for you. And like Carlos was saying earlier, and he did a great job saying this, we only really do this for the kids, right? Even my own kids, one of them doesn't want to play soccer anymore. The other one is getting really close to aging out, but I don't see myself stopping. I love this. Carlos loves this. Josh, Steve, Morrow, everybody here loves this. So we're here for you guys. We hope you guys have an amazing season. Other than that, I can open it up to a few more questions. If you guys, was there anything else, Josh or Carlos, Steve, Morrow, anybody?
There was a couple of questions that did get posted in the message thread that I'd like to just touch base on real quick. And
Sure.
while I'm doing this, if any of you have any other questions, throw them in that little chat box and then we'll get to them. So question about earrings was brought up, and I want to just be super clear on this because it has been a point of contention in the past that earrings are absolutely not allowed during practices or games. It doesn't matter if they're covered with tape, doesn't matter if they're skin colored studs or anything like that. No earrings. Even if you just got them pierced last week and your holes are going to close up, so you can't take your earrings out. I mean, okay, then you also won't play on the field. And so I don't want to sound too harsh on that note. This goes way above us in our region. These are area and section guidelines, and it's a zero exception policy. So no earrings
And
allowed.
great point. And I know this is kind of like the same thing, Josh, for the most part, but that goes for nose rings as well, right? Anything like with
Yes.
rings related, because we did have that scenario recently, and it was a situation where there were, they couldn't take out the stud. It was really difficult to do. Unfortunately, there was nothing we could do about it. We cannot allow. Josh brought up a fantastic point. We cannot allow players out there playing with earrings or nose rings on. That is 100%.
Perfect. And then going back to volunteer hour. So all older siblings generally, or especially kids in high school, you don't have to be a player. But look, high schoolers have to get volunteer hours, and through our region is a great way to do that. So they can do tent duty, they can become youth referees, they could do field lighting. There's a ton of stuff that they can do, and any of us board members can sign off their volunteer hours sheet. So parents, keep that in mind. If you have a sibling or a cousin or a nephew or somebody that is in that situation and needs some volunteer hours, hey, kick them over to us. We will put them to work. We'll use them, and they'll get the hours that they need.
Awesome. I do see a new question that's popped up. I don't know if anything else has popped up that I didn't see while I was chatting, but and Carlos, I think you kind of tried to answer it a second ago. What is the cost of corporate sponsorship? Does that count towards volunteer points? So there are different brackets, and I know. Thank you, Carlos. Yeah, you put in bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and each one based on how much you provide, and it all depends. Like if you only do one season, say for example spring, it's a lesser amount. If you do the entire year, it's a greater amount. But each one of the brackets will give you different incentives and give you different things that the region will give back to you for the sponsorship, right? So if you were to go to our website, one of the actual options up in the website right now is sponsors. I think it's about 1463. One of the main ones says about 1463. Highlight that, a drop down will come out and it'll say sponsors on there. Hit that one and you will get a lot of information as far as sponsorship is concerned if you're curious to find out more. And unfortunately, I don't know if Carlos said, yeah, it does not count towards volunteer points. Kind of an interesting idea though. I like it. All right, gang. We'll give it a couple more beats. Any other questions before we go? And by the way, again, I know I've said this before, but you guys will have this document on Saturday on the website. You will have the video on the website. I will send an email to the entire region letting them know if anybody missed this tonight, they can go ahead and watch it and look at the presentation. We will week after week provide you guys reminders. So you guys will get a ton of info. This will not be the one and only thing. So, all right. I think that's it, guys. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate you guys taking the time to be out here and listening to us talk about this stuff. As always, if you have any questions, let us know. But other than that, have a fantastic night, and we hope to see you at the field soon.